All right, so in this video, I'm just going to go through the appendix in chapter 4. All right, so if I were you, I would just have a quick read of the appendix. It's not too long. And in this video, I'm just going to go over one or two questions at the back of the appendix. All right. All right, so we'll start with question A1 at the back of the appendix, and it says, say that the demand schedule for a good is given by the equation quantity demanded equals 20 minus 2p, and the supply schedule is given by the function quantity supplied equals negative 10 plus 4p. And in this slide, we'll be covering A, and A says graph the demand and supply curves, showing the x and y intercepts for each. So basically, we're trying to determine what does the demand curve look like, right? Does it look like this? Does it look like this? And how do we know? Well, we know we can find out because we can find out where it crosses, right? The x-axis, or where it crosses the y-axis, and we can join it together, and that's what we're going to be attempting here. Okay, so how do we do that? Well, what we have to do, for example, if you want to find out where does it cross P, then we have to make Q equal 0, because what is the value of Q at this point? Right, it's 0. Q, the quantity, is going to be 0 at that point. Okay, so anyway, so why don't we start with that? We'll start with the demand curve. And so, yeah, I'll just write this out. Quantity demanded equals 20 minus 2p. Okay, we want to find out what this point is, wherever it is on this line, right? We don't know. So in other words, we're going to make this 0, right? Quantity demand is 0 along the y-axis, along this axis, right? Q is going to be 0. So anyways, so Q is going to be 0, and that's what we've done here with this equation. 0 equals 20 minus 2p. So that's pretty easy stuff. So I'm going to bring 2p to the other side. In other words, I'm going to add 2p here and add 2p here, and then I get 2p equals 20, or p equals 10. So I know that my demand curve is going to cross this axis somewhere at 10. Okay, fair enough. All right, so what do I want to do here if I want to find out where it crosses? Does it cross here? Does it cross here? At what number? What do I have to make 0 if I want to see where it crosses? There. Well, P is going to be 0, right? At this level here, P, or price, equals 0. All right, so it's pretty easy stuff. All I have to do is, again, bring down my equation. Quantity demanded equals 20 minus 2p, and I'm just going to make that p equal 0, right? 2, and I'm going to put in bracket 0. So I know that QD equals 20, right? So maybe that's something like this, right? And I can call it 20, right? All right, and I'll try to draw a straight line. Not very straight, but whatever. All right, so that's what my demand curve looks like. It crosses at a price of 10, and it crosses the x-axis here at a quantity of 20. All right, so what about the supply curve? Okay, so the supply curve, it looks like this. QS equals negative 10 plus 4p. Okay, so what's it going to look like? Well, we know the quantity supplied is always going to be upward sloping. So is it going to be like this? It might be. Is it going to be like this? It might be, right? We don't know yet, all right? So anyways, all right, so we don't know what it's going to look like exactly. Well, let's try it. Let's find out, okay? So, all right, so let's see. Again, let's find out where, I guess it's either going to go like this. It could even go like this, right? So I want to find out where is it on this what price is it at? If I want to find out what price is it at, I gotta figure out the equation for where Q equals 0, right? Because anywhere along this line, Q equals 0, right? So it's pretty easy stuff, right? I just got to make Q equal 0. So 0 equals minus 10 plus 4p. And, I'll bring the 10 over to the other side. So plus 10 plus 10, all right? And so I have 10 equals 4p, or 4p equals 10. And if I do the math, what's p going to equal? P is going to equal 2.5, all right? All right, so that's good. So 2.5 somewhere around here. That's what P is going to look like, somewhere around there. All right, so let's see. Now let's find out where it is along the Q. What's the quantity at? So where's it going to cross? Is it going to cross here? I think it is, somewhere there, right? Because the supply curve is going to be upward sloping, right? Okay, so what is this number? That's what we're going to find out. Well, how do we find out what that number is going to be? Well, what do we got to make equal 0? That's what you got to think when you're trying to find out about the intercepts. Okay, whenever you're talking about intercepts, something has to equal 0. So what has to equal 0 at this point? Is it P or is it Q? At this point, it's going to be, right, P equals 0 at that point, right? So let's just plug it in. Quantity supplied equals negative 10 plus 4 times 0, or, all right, okay, so P equals 0, as you can see. So anyways, so quantity supplied equals minus 10, and that's exactly what this point is here. I guess if I was to write a little bit more correctly, it might be somewhere out here, right? Okay, so let's see, minus 10. All right. Ooh. And it's going to look something like that. Okay, so let's go on to B. All right, guys, and A1B basically says determine the equilibrium price and quantity. All right, so what do we do in order to do that? It's pretty easy stuff. We know that the equilibrium price and the equilibrium quantity is where these two functions equal each other. It's where the quantity demand function equals the quantity supplied function, right? And so we're really looking for, right, the equilibrium quantity and the equilibrium price, right, the PE, right? So we're looking for that point right there. And so it's pretty easy to do that. All we have to do is go 20 minus 2P, right, the demand function, right, equals negative 10 plus 4P, all right? And so pretty easy stuff, right? I'll just add 2P to this side and add 2P to this side, right? And I get 20 equals negative 10 plus 6P, and then I'll do the same here. I'll add 10 on this side and add 10 on this side. 30 equals 6P, and what does P equal? 5. So we know that P, the price at equilibrium, right here, is going to be $5. Okay, so we still have to find out what the equilibrium quantity is, don't we? And it's pretty easy stuff. All we have to do is we have to plug in 5 to one of our equations. And it doesn't matter which equation we would plug it into, because we would still get the right answer. Quantity demanded equals 20 minus 2 times 5, right? And in other words, quantity demanded equals 10. So we know that this is 10 right here. And for fun, if you'd like, I could also just drop it in the other Q supply equals 10. There we go. Okay, so pretty easy stuff. That's how you find out what the equilibrium price and the equilibrium quantity are. All you do is find out where the two equations equal each other.